I could not possibly have imagined. You know, and I don't know what your thinking was behind the forum, but I remember when I was really thinking deeply about this, and this was sort of a graduate student project at Stanford, and I talked to my advisor. I was like, should I really do this entrepreneurial thing? And it might not work out, and I can just finish my PhD. And he said, why not? Go for it. And then if it doesn't work out, you come back, you finish your PhD, which I'm still planning on doing. There's no big deal. Just give it a shot. And I think that mentality permeates Silicon Valley, and I think that's one of the strengths that there's really not much. It's not viewed so negatively to try something, even if it doesn't work out.
There are many important things to life, aside from financial or career.
Eventually, I went on to join the PhD program, computer science at Stanford, and it was purely, the interest of what can you do with all of the world's information now that it's online. That interest spawned Google, and that was together with Larry Page, who's my co-founder and partner.
It's not necessarily the ultimate success that motivates you. It's the process of getting there, and the technologies or products that you build, or in whatever realms you may be in. So I'm not too concerned about finding something to do, though I do think it'll be based on doing things that I really enjoy and not have some end goal in mind.
I think as a kid, I always had a kind of scientific curiosity. I was always interested in mathematics, and I always enjoyed doing math problems. And in fact, my undergrad, I had a degree in both math and computer science. And I think eventually I was really inspired by computers because of the amazing power that they give you. I mean, today's PCs do 1 billion operations per second. I mean, it's almost inconceivable. And I think that was the most inspiring thing to me, how you could leverage that to actually produce something that was useful beyond video games and things like that.
The challenge of a problem or the importance isn't that related to how likely you are to achieve it. And in fact, even when you go after a more ambitious goal, even if you fail to achieve that one, all the side effects that come along the way can be that much more rewarding and significant in their own right. And so, I feel lucky that I fell into doing something that I feel really matters, getting people information around the world about anything. I wish there was a way to convey that too, to the world at large. Obviously, all of you already have this religion, but it's very rewarding when you work on something you think is going to make a big difference. And yeah, it's a little bit harder, but I think the passion that one might bring with it brings so much more energy to that you're more likely to succeed. I'm Sergey Brin. I'm from Google, and prior to that, I was a PhD student at Stanford. Larry and I first met when he came to visit during the PhD recruitment weekend, which was, he started a couple of years after I did. And we became good friends when he actually agreed to join and came on board. And we experimented with a variety of things. We had some shared interests, and Larry had this crazy idea that he was going to download all the links on the web and then do something with them. It wasn't entirely clear what. We did find that there were great applications, and one of them was search. Which eventually became Google.
One is on deploying a service that's going to serve millions of people. When we were at Stanford, we had 10,000 people using our service, or about 10,000 searches per day, I should say. And now we serve over 50 million searches per day. And that scaling of infrastructure, that's pretty challenging. On a more personal level, I think I'm now the president of Google, and we have about 170 people now. And I think managing people and being emotionally sensitive and all the skills you learn in terms of communication and keeping people motivated, I think that's been a challenge, and I've enjoyed learning that. But that's an important and a hard thing to learn.
The other thing that we've really found over time at Google, watching at other companies, watching many of you, is the importance of the development cycle and how you really need to be able to churn quickly through things. And because, obviously you're going to have failures. You're going to have the wrong idea. But it's important to fail quickly.
I think young people, in some ways, their life is much easier than, sort of my life might have been at that stage. Just, for, I think, all of us, having before, whatever, if we were traveling to Switzerland, it'd be a big stressful thing. How do you get in touch with people before mobile phones, arrange your travel, figure out how to exchange your currency? There are many things, we can whip our phones out and look up anything and figure out how to get somewhere. There are a lot of affordances that are such conveniences today that make it easy. But there's also a global stage that makes it hard, actually. Because if when I was in school and I was on the math team or whatever, I was just compared to other kids in the school, and I did quite well against them, and I found myself, I'm good at that, I'm good at that. I find younger folks today their measures of themselves are always, especially, the ambitious ones on this global stage. It's like, I have to be, number one in the world at this or that. And I'm like, that's a really tall order. And I think it can be discouraging in a way, because if, those folks say, I'm number 1,000 in the world at this game, which, in my world would have been an enormous achievement, because that means like you were definitely the best in like your city and your state and whatnot. But it's hard, and I think there's a little bit of discouragement. So I would encourage young folks to take chances and pursue their dreams, and try to silence out kind of the voices that say, actually, there are like 1,000 startups trying to do whatever, self-riding bicycles or whatever it is they happen to be doing.
Certainly anyone can say, I want to build, a car that's going to cost $5 and go 500 miles an hour. And all that would be great. I was fortunate to be at Stanford, and I was really interested in data mining, which means analyzing large amounts of data, discovering patterns and trends. And at the same time, Larry joined Stanford in '95, and he started downloading the web, which is, turns out to be the most interesting data you can possibly mine. And our joint effort, just looking at the data out of curiosity, we found that we had technology to do a better job of search. And from that initial technology, we got really interested in the problem, and we realized how impactful having great search can be. And so we built technology upon technology after that to bring Google to where it is today, and we continue to develop lots of technology for tomorrow.
Yeah, I certainly had no dreams of such economic success, and I think you're exactly right. I think you should have fun and not be so weighed down by the weight of expectations. That I think sort of this global network, unfortunately, one of the downsides, I think it creates that weight.
We talked to all the search companies at the time, and they just weren't interested in what we were doing. And it was obviously like, didn't want to buy this company that didn't really have anything without the people. So they wanted us, but we were like, why are we going to work at this place that doesn't believe in search? It's not going to cause anything good to happen. So I think ultimately we didn't sell for that reason, just that they weren't interested in it, which is the same reason they, had trouble getting to $1 million, which I guess at the time was a lot of money. But I think ultimately for me it was just about wanting to actually, search seemed pretty important. It was about actually wanting to do something in that area, and it didn't seem like that was going to happen in these organizations.
As a child, I was, I had an accent. I came to the U.S. at the age of 6, and so I was teased and stuff in elementary school. And I don't regard myself as being really popular going through school. But that was never that important to me, and I always had friends. I think if anything, I don't know, I feel like I've gotten a gift by being in the States rather than growing up in Russia. And I know the hard times that my parents went through there, and I'm very thankful that I was brought to the States. And I think it just makes me appreciate my life much more.